Hey, it's Chaos Quick Fix. This is where we show you something that either does or doesn't work for us, and then you can either get it or don't get it. Today we talk guitar cables. Now, not so much brand of cable, but more so the type of cable you want and the gauge cable. This is your typical either unbranded or cheaper generic type guitar cable, instrument cable. It's a 20 gauge cable, your standard guitar cable you buy that's not, super brand name or heavy duty or whatever you want to call it, is going to be about a 20 gauge cable. It's relatively thin. It's got just your basic PVC jacket, rubber jacket, no heat shrink, nothing fancy, no spring to stop the bending or anything. Your basic cheap connector on a cheap cable. There's nothing wrong with this. I use these for patch cords all the time. And they're not going through a lot of wear and tear, so they're fine. So that's your basic about 20 gauge, and you can get these in all lengths. And if you're sitting at home practicing whatever, these are fine. But that's your basic guitar cable that you're going to buy. Now you start stepping up to name brand and heavy duty and stuff like that. And I just picked up a 2-pack of 3-foot pig hog cables. And this is the first time I've ever used a pig hog cable, because I've been using other brands, and for the majority of my time playing, I've always made my own cables. But I really like these. They're really nice cables. They're good looking cables, very well built. They got nice gold plated ends, heavy duty, heat shrunk. They're just nice cables. They'll put up with a lot of abuse. They work really well. They're quiet. These cables are not as quiet. It's a lot thinner gauge wire and not quite built as well as these. But again, I'm just using it for a patch cable. I plug it in and it just sits there. It doesn't move around, so I'm not too worried about it. These are nice. So I do like these. Now their website claims 14 gauge wire, but they say 14 gauge speaker cable. This is not a speaker cable. This is an instrument cable. So I'm guessing it's probably a little less than 14 gauge. But either way, it's a heavy duty, a much nicer cable than the first one I showed you. Now, the difference between instrument cable and speaker cable, instrument cable is made for signal. So it's got a shielded ground. It keeps noise from getting in, noise from getting out. It's a quieter cable, made for an instrument. Speaker cable is made for a speaker, from your head to your cabinet, for your stereo, from your stereo to your speakers, whatever. From your car head to your speakers, that kind of thing. This is my speaker cables. Now, I've always made my own speaker cables for my amps because I got this OCD thing that it has to be the exact distance I need. This is my speaker cable. Now, this might be a little bit overkill, but you'll see compared to the 20 gauge, just a little bit bigger. This is a 12 gauge, really heavy duty 12 gauge speaker cabinet cable, because you're pushing a lot of power with a big head, 150, 200 watts, whatever. You're pushing a lot more power through something like this. So I like a bigger cable, but you don't have to worry about shielding with this. It's just 2 wires, point A to point B. On each one, you don't have to worry about any of the other nonsense. So there is a difference. You can use an instrument cable for your head to cabinet, and it's fine. You cannot use a speaker cable for your guitar. It will not work. You'll get noise and all kinds of other stuff. So be aware of that. Thanks for sticking with us. Leave your comments. This has been Quick Picks. Thanks for joining us.